Hello everyone, we'll start the session right now.
Hello everyone, and we are pleased to welcome you to this meetup about introduction to machine learning. I will let me introduce you, Mr. Bandara, the CEO and founder of Blue Chip Tech Inc. Our company, Blue Chip Technologies, is present in Singapore, Hong Kong, Colombo, London, and Delaware. I just wanted to mention that this session is recorded, and I will now let Mr. Bandara begin this meeting.
Okay, thank you, Solakshi. So this session, we are going to discuss about introduction to machine learning. So where we have planning a series of the programs like this in the Meetup channel. So we are looking at a lot of different emerging technologies to discuss a lot of different topics. So in this particular session, we are going to discuss about the machine learning technology and how it valuable for your application development. So you may come from different fields. It will be really valuable you to learn about this technology and get a lot of advanced knowledge about the this area, right? So let's look at some of the business opportunities available in AI. So AI is used in a lot of areas like automation, machine learning, algorithms, robotics, like a lot of different areas where you can see the importance of AI becoming increasing day by day, where we can use for a lot of different application side of things, especially for the AI side, the machine learning, data science, like there are a lot of variations of topics within this scope. So the main advantage of using AI is to increase the performance, right? So also we can like automate a lot of manual tasks. We can automate using AI technology. So here you can see how the connection between AI and other technologies are happening. For example, you can see with terms of cloud computing, mobile technology, VR, and IoT. So AI is getting more and more interact with a lot of technologies every day. So we cannot like avoid this technology. It's used in a lot of places and it supports multiple industries as well. Let's say agriculture, to space technology, to different industries, manufacturing, like a lot of industries, HR, finance, likewise, a lot of industries we can use AI technology in terms of machine learning and deep learning. There are a lot of use cases in these areas and a lot of startups, a lot of companies working on a lot of interesting projects on this area. And there are different techniques also available for us to work in this technology. So this session will go through a high-level understanding and also the tools and technologies you need to use in order to master this, right? What kind of tools you need to use in order to develop application in AI, what kind of technologies you need to familiar with. So you can see why we are going with AI technologies, mainly to improve the workflow, analyze large data sets, improve the customer experience, detecting security, and also we can automate a lot of manual tasks. So a lot of repetitive tasks we can automate, and we can use AI to automate and save time. So it will reduce the cost. It will reduce the cost for organization and improve the efficiency using AI. So we can automate a lot of things. Even technologies like RPA help you to automate a lot of tasks and easier to develop more applications. So as I mentioned, you can see the benefits. The main benefit of AI is cost saving, right? How you can save the cost, because you may already have a digital solution, right? So there could be already a website or mobile app that's running and working on some services. So where we can further improve that workflow, we can automate, or we can use for a lot of analytics, different areas to do the further cost saving. And you can use for handle repetitive tasks, right? Let's say every day there's like a process to find something on the web, go some specific information and create a report. So we can automate that. There are Python libraries where we can search automatically and then we can automate like that. So there are like social media search libraries are there, packages where we can query in Twitter and other social media, and we can get a report, generate a report based on those things. So likewise, there are a lot of automating kind of a tasks we can do using that. Then other advantage is personalization. So we can personalize a lot of services using AI. So you can see every day when you go to YouTube, Netflix, right, Facebook, Instagram. So a lot of things are personalized for your viewing pleasure. So because of that, you can see it's used a lot of AI technology. For example, there's a specific algorithm called recommendation. So it uses the recommendation algorithm to do this personalization. So using recommendation algorithm, your the viewing will be personalized. So we are going to discuss that in this session as well. So you can see here in this graph, the data science life cycle. It starts with the business understanding. So what is the requirement, right? What is the requirement you are going to fulfill? So let's say I want to predict a certain, let's say tomorrow's weather, or I want to predict what is the stock price going to be. So likewise, you can identify what is the business case or the use case that you are going to solve. There are only specific set of things that we can do. It's not like still we cannot do almost everything in AI, where you need to do a lot of other research and experiment to follow that. But there are a specific set of areas that we can do in terms of use cases. Those are available where you can research and see what are things are possible and not possible. And not possible things, it takes more time. If we need to do more additional research, maybe combine different techniques to achieve that particular result. So once you have the business understanding, you can see the data acquisition part where we need to get a lot of data, right? So data may come from different sources, IoT sensors, it can come from Excel, it can come from SQL, data warehouse. So likewise, it can come from different sources. So where we need to gather this data in a manner that we can capture these things. Then once you capture these things, what we can do is we can model this. So that is where the data scientist come in place. So data scientist is a person that look at these particular data and come to a specific prediction, right? So if you look at data science related jobs skills, you can see what kind of a skill set that they are looking at for data scientists, right? So that is the different like set of tools and technologies you need to be familiar with in order to master data science related skill set. So example, Python language and specific frameworks, and also some packages, right? So then data scientists come with a specific prediction, like what is the particular algorithm that we are going to use. Could be regression, classification, clustering. Likewise, there are many types of algorithm for each of these use cases. So the data scientist will come to this specific kind of algorithm to look at that and get the particular result. Then in that you will get a percentage success. So that we call as evaluation, where we get like a 80% success, 90% success, like that. Then afterward, what we can do is we need to deploy this, right? For example, once you complete a certain machine learning project, you get a like a result, like we call this as a model. So this model, then we need to deploy it to a website or mobile app, because AI, the AI itself is a particular technology, but in order to user to consume, we need to again connect it with the website or mobile app. So example, if you look at Netflix, there's a recommendation of movies. That's again, like when you select a movie, you can see recommended movies, but that is coming through AI system, but through a API, it can fetch those information using a specific algorithm. So likewise, at the output of the final result of AI solution is again a website or mobile app. So where we need to see and feel, right? Because AI project itself is a Python code and a lot of model files that data scientists can understand, but not a customer. At the end, we need to provide a solution for consumer where they can feel the features of the AI. So that is where almost most of the systems out there, softwares out there, have some sort of AI capabilities. So we call this as AI enablement, where we will enable AI features into the existing applications, right? So we see there are several set of frameworks like Flask framework in Python, and also we can use APIs to integrate this model into the final website, right? So what is machine learning? Computer learns from data in order to do predictive analytics. So if you look at Amazon recommendation, if you purchase an item, you can see it is going to recommend other recommended items. So that is using the recommending algorithm, right? So it's one of the main kind of a feature in the Amazon website. Similarly to other e-commerce sites also, they are using similar approach, using recommendation algorithm and a lot of other data sets. They are going to predict most likely item that you are going to buy when you purchase a specific item, right? So that is, you can see one good example. And we have again, self-driving cars, which is like testing out, different kind of scenarios we call as reinforcement learning. That is another model of the AI, where we can train itself to learn from the environment. That's why you can see a lot of companies trying out with reinforcement learning with self-driving cars. They are trying, and also there are other infrastructure part also need to be enabled. For example, cloud services, 5G, and all these things to support this. Okay, so you can see here the bigger picture where we have AI. So AI is the bigger picture where we have all these technologies put in place into one scope. Then we have machine learning and deep learning. You can see the time frame. So it's really a few decades old. But at that time, what we had is the computing power. So we didn't have enough computing power to support these things. So that's why now we are discussing about this, where we have really good set of computing power, especially with cloud computing. So if you look at the cloud giants like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, all these cloud giants have immense set of powers, computing power that we can harness in our machine learning projects, right? So that is one of the main features that the AI technology is needed. A lot of computing power for their training requirement to create a model file. We need a lot of computing power. So where cloud providers can provide this bigger computing power. Of course, there's a specific fee allocated for the computing power, but we can train a lot of these data sets, and we can get a really good result out of this. So next, we'll discuss a couple of use cases. So first, I will go into HR side, which is human resource. So in that, we look at a couple of use cases that we can apply in machine learning. One is the recruiting. So the recruiting side, you can see we can get information like for hiring related things. So for example, we can create automated hiring agent, right? So there's a chatbot component of also where we can analyze the candidate information, where candidate can automatically like type some information about his or her information, and the AI can understand based on the text analytics what kind of characteristics about that person. Also, we can create an audio and video interview of the candidate, automated kind of a thing, because companies will get thousands of CVs. Then it's really hard to take a lot of time and effort for HR to sort the CVs into an interview. So that's why this AI agent or AI software can fast that process, because you can see the main use case, main benefit for organization is a cost saving. So they can save cost on human resource, like putting a lot of time on manual work. They can automate that, where the AI software can automatically go through these candidate profiles and also analyze these profiles. Also, they can do even schedule automated interviews, and then they can get some initial insight about the person and submit those information to the HR. So then they will reduce some time of pre-screening these CVs, right? Without that, we only have a PDF of the CV. That's it. That's need to decide whether they are good to go with interview or not. So where we have a software, we can create to like intermediately decide whether that feature going to be really useful or not. Then another one is attrition detection, where a large organization, because there's these days the great resignation issue is there, where a lot of people leaving organization. So it's a huge issue for the company. So if we can detect who's the next employee going to leave, if there's a possible indication on that, that will be really helpful for the any organization. So using a churn based algorithms, we can do that, right? So we can predict who's the next employee going to leave the organization. So this is actually coming from the telecom side. So the telecom side, the subscriber. So organization want to keep their subscribers. So if a subscriber leave a particular network, then what happens? Then they want to that person will go to another network, right? So that is a huge disadvantage for them. So if they can analyze that, who's the subscriber that going to leave before they are leaving, that's a huge value cost saving for the telecom provider. So that is a one use case. So that same use case can apply for other industries, whether they have a lot of customer base, let's say thousands of customer base, they want to identify who's the next customer going to churn or left that particular product or service. Then if they can predict that early, what's the advantage? We can provide additional benefits. We can investigate the situation, because when the customer decide to leave, then it's really hard to get them back to the organization or product or service. So the AI helps to identify early on the issues. Then we can use that. Then we can use for recommendations, like role recommendation, specific skill set matching with another skill set in the organization or another department, or chatbot to automate some of the issues, like HR related issues, without actually talking to a HR person. They can talk to a chatbot and sort out. If not able to sort out, it can forward into a actual HR person. So likewise, for a large organizations, these are really helpful. Otherwise, they need to have really big HR to handle all this. The human resource is really shortened these days. So because of that, we can automate using a chatbot, and then we can connect only the relevant part into a final real HR person. So next, we look at some of the algorithms that we can use in machine learning. Remember, these are not the only algorithm. I'm just showing some of the basic algorithms that we can use, but there are many other algorithms that we can use as well. One algorithm is called classification algorithm. Classification is getting the binary result, yes or no, true or false, like that. Whether we can get a specific result, right? Yes or no, true or false, likewise. So the algorithm will predict that result for you. For churn also, we can use this, like whether this employee going to leave, yes or no. It's going to predict that. There's a 80% chance this employee going to leave next, like that. So the algorithm will predict that information. So that is a really valuable information for the organization, because at that moment, that person is not left, is still working, but they are saying there's a highest indication this person have a highest probability to leave. So it's a really useful information. So the classification algorithm helps you to do that. Then we have another algorithm called anomaly detection algorithm. This is to find some issues or the weirdness in the system. For example, everyone know, like, we have spam folders in our email accounts. So that use the anomaly detection algorithms. If there's any key, the weirdness in the text itself, those emails will go into the spam folder. So that's why you can see it's use the text analytics in the keywords in the email header and body. Then based on that, it will go to the spam folder. But it's not 100% accurate. Sometimes your original mails, so the important mails, might stuck in spam as well, because there's a certain accuracy level in all these predictions. So maximum is around 99%, 999, but normally it's around 95% or something like that. So then there's a 5% chance of failure, where you can see even today, if you go to like Gmail or Yahoo Mail, some of the original mails of the important mails may end up really sometimes in the spam folder. There's still chance of that, but most of the time you can see any the unwanted mails, right, will end up in spam folder. So anomaly detection algorithm helps you to do that, to identify. We can even use this algorithm for financial fraud detection, credit card fraud detection, and is used in the networking side, computer networking side, to identify threats and firewall related attacks, things like that. Then we can use the next algorithm, which is the regression algorithm. The regression algorithm, we can predict how much, how many, the exact number we can predict using the regression algorithm. So where we can predict a particular number, particular value, exactly how much, how many. Then we have another algorithm called clustering algorithm. So this algorithm helps you to put things in order, specific clusters, right? So put things in a specific order using this algorithm. So example, let's say you input a HR dataset, then this will show groups in your HR datasets based on different kind of variations of different kind of information for organization, right? So these are earlier not visible to the organization, but using this algorithm, it shows these hidden data points, hidden categories or hidden groups in your data using the clustering algorithm. So the popular clustering algorithm is called k-mean clustering. That is a really popular algorithm. So this algorithm helps you to understand these different key data points and identify these specific hidden data in your data sets. So you can see some of the use cases here for purchase history, activity on application, website, platform, interest, for activity monitoring. So likewise, the k-mean clustering is only one example, but there are other clustering algorithms are also available. Then this is one of the most popular type of algorithm, which is recommendation, where we can recommend items. So you can see all the major companies using this LinkedIn for recommending professionals, YouTube for recommending videos, Netflix for recommending movies, Booking.com for recommending hotels, TripAdvisor recommending hotels, right? You can name it, a lot of different major providers, Amazon.com for recommending e-commerce products, like Facebook to recommend friends, like so it's just one algorithm, but that is one of their main business model. To engage with the audience, they use this recommendation algorithm. So there are many like recommendation algorithm versions are there, different names, but it's a main type is recommendation, where we can recommend item. So if you purchase a one item, we can recommend what is the second item you most likely to get. Let's say if you watch a movie, based on the previous users movie histories and item click, all this information, we can predict you are going to most likely to like this particular movie, because we have millions of data. Bigger the data, accurate the result is going to be. That's why YouTube, you will get really good accurate result. LinkedIn, bigger the data, you'll get the much more accurate result, because you have really big volume of data set as your initial data set. Then you get a really good accurate result. So the recommendation algorithm helps you to do that, where we can use this algorithm to get the item recommendations, product recommendations into our application. So based on that, we can create systems, AI applications, and then we can create entire products based on this. Then we look at machine learning languages. So there are mainly two languages you need to learn. One of the main language, of course, is Python. Python is one of the main standard in terms of machine learning, data science, and all this area. Then we have R language as well, and there are other languages also. Even nowadays, main languages also, like main programming languages, also supporting some sort of machine learning components. For example, you can use C# for machine learning, you can use Java for machine learning, but not as much as Python. So if you go to Python, you can do almost everything in Python. Recently, like we was looking at like how you can create the automated drawing, right, using Python. So we can do that. So we can create the automated drawing, like a generated drawing using Python, and that can be used as an NFT. So likewise, we can do a lot of this creative kind of stuff using Python, and there are many libraries that is there to support this. So learning Python is one of the main thing that you need to familiar with. Then on top of that, we can learn machine learning related technologies. But remember, Python is not only for machine learning. Python is there for web development. We can use the Django framework. Then we can use for GUI, desktop application development, game development. Likewise, it's used for a lot of other technologies as well. So the machine learning side is only one, but in that also Python becomes number one at the moment. Then we have again we have another set of softwares like this kind of Azure Machine Learning Studio. These are like drag and drop tools. So these are really good for beginners to get started with machine learning, because sometimes we have found that there are non-IT background audience also want to learn these technologies. So then they are not coming from a programming background likewise, right? So if you are coming from IT background, then learning Python and learning these tools will be much easier. But if you are coming from a non-IT background, if you are, let's say you are coming from chemical industry, or if you are coming from manufacturing side, if you are coming from physics, right? Then if you want to use data science, then you are not directly coming from programming side, but still you can apply these things. So then there are some like shortcut methods that we can easily understand the concepts and things like that using these easy to learn tools like Azure Machine Learning Studio is a one tool where we can like drag and drop these items, and then we can learn these much more quickly to understand the concepts and practice with these areas. Then once you're familiar, you can start learning Python, and then we can go through the Python and we can create projects, and then we can build entire systems. Even we can create startups, our startup companies we can form based on this one idea. We can go through that path as well. Then in here you can see the Microsoft AI platform, which is providing a lot of services in terms of as a cloud provider. So here you can see they're providing services, built-in services. They're providing infrastructure services like virtual machines, cloud computing. Then they provide tools, deep learning frameworks, things like that. So they provide a lot of these kind of things as a services in terms of AI. So similarly to Microsoft, there are other providers like, as I mentioned, AWS, Oracle, and all other providers also provide similar kind of services for everyone to use, because there's a huge competition among these cloud providers to work on these services. So each of these cloud providers provide different kind of services. So in this, you can see the Microsoft side, Microsoft services that they provide for AI. Then here in this slide, you can see AWS in Amazon Web Service. They also provide a lot of AI services. They have a lot of built-in AI services as well. Even they are providing their Amazon websites AI service as a separate service that let's say you're having your own e-commerce, you can integrate Amazon's that capability of product recommendation into your e-commerce site as a service. So likewise, there are a lot of capabilities that they are providing, and also they provide infrastructure as well, virtual machine, cloud computing, all these things. They have different names and different terms. So based on the cloud provider that you are working on, you need to familiar with these terms, because sometimes the services look same, but there are different terms used in different platforms based on the different use cases. So here you can see the IBM's platform, where IBM AI. IBM, used to be a really big company. They have a lot of technologies, now a little bit lagging behind compared to other big companies like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon. But they are also providing a lot of AI services in terms of the analyzing data, predicting translation, language understanding, natural language processing, things like that. Then here you can see the Oracle Cloud. So the Oracle Cloud also providing mostly for the customers of Oracle database and Oracle clients. They provide analytics. They have their own BI service. And then they provide data analytics side, data engineering, data lake side. Then they provide the AI machine learning side as well. Most of these cloud provider has their own Python interface where they can connect with the Python language frameworks, because Python is fully open source package. It's not a proprietary, so everyone can download for free and use for all your projects. But these are proprietary softwares, and there's a specific payment amount for cloud services and the services that you are using. So you need to check their pricing. Each of these providers have their own pricing page. They provide the pricings per month, per request, or per usage, what kind of pricing they are having. So we need to check that in order to before consuming, because we need to pay for these services based on the consumption that we use. Okay. Then let's go to some of the tools that you need to get familiar with. If you have any questions, also you can post in the chat. Also, you can unmute and you can ask within the session. During the end of the session, also we have a few minutes, or you can unmute and you can ask, or you can post the questions in the chat. We'll look at that and we'll answer as much as possible. So we have then some softwares that we can use for machine learning. Pycharm is one software from JetBrains that we can use to develop application. So Pycharm is a really good software that we can use. There's a paid version and a free version. Using that, we can use version controls, other capabilities easily, and like things like debugging, bug fixing. All these things are built in to the Pycharm software. Then we have another popular software, VS Code. I think you may use already. So the VS Code is not only for Python-based language, you can use for almost any language. It's really lightweight, around 40-50 megabytes. Yeah, we can install a lot of plugins and we can add more capabilities to this open source software. So it have a Python-based interpreter where we can get the Python language and then we can compile on top of that as well. Then the one of the most popular interface is the Anaconda environment. So using Anaconda environment, we can do almost all the project developments. I think maybe you have familiar with the Anaconda environment. If not, you need to visit the official site and you can download the software. So where you can go to the, let me show that. You can go to the anaconda.com/product/individual, where you can download the Mac version, Windows version or Linux version. You can see it's completely free of charge, where you get this kind of environment to you to work on. You'll get popular softwares like Jupyter Notebook. Then you get a Spider software, and it install all the main data science packages for you to use, right? So I recommend you to download this software. If you need not downloaded yet, you can see there are around over 25 million users use this. So latest version is Python 3.9. If you download it right now, then 64-bit version I will recommend to use. You can download for any operating systems. So this include everything as a one install. That is one of the main advantage. Let me share this in the chat as well for you to get that URL. So this include everything in a one install. That means you don't need to install Python. You don't need to install any specific package. Everything set up into one install. Once you install, download and install this software, everything will be installed for you. So you don't need to worry about anything. It's just install everything. Then you can start building your application once installation is completed. Everything is there. That is one of the main advantage in this software, because in terms of open source software, there are a lot of things used to be like you need to configure a lot of things, and like still they are in terms of Node.js like environments, but especially the open source is a part of like a lot of configurations you need to do. But from this software, you can see there's not much configurations. You can just install the software and everything will be configured for you from the installation itself. Then you can automatically just use the software. You can use Jupyter Notebook, or you can use the Spider software to build your application, where I think include all these most of the data science packages to you to work with in your applications, right? So these data science packages are helpful for you to work with your applications. So where most of these packages are built in. But remember, there are more advanced packages like TensorFlow, PyTorch, Keras, those kind of packages. So those packages are not included by default. Then you need to use a command line interface to install. Maybe in another session, we'll discuss more details like how to install packages, things like that. So in this session, we look at the basic setup, installation, like how to install the software and how to create some basic set of codes and things like that. So in terms of Jupyter Notebook software, there's another version where you can search in Google as Google Colab. So where you can see this kind of an interface. So the Google Colab is really powerful software where you will get a lot of features, right? You will get a lot of features for completely free and everything running in the cloud. So you can see Google Colab is a really easy to use software where we have most of these features that we discussed automatically configured. And here you can see we can we can save the file, we can download the Python, Jupyter Notebook or the Jupyter IPYNB file. We can save in GitHub, we can save in our Google Drive, we can share with other team members, right? So we can do a lot of things here. And they are giving a lot of things for free of charge in the Google Cloud environment. And you can see the URL is colab.research.google.com and is associated with your Gmail account, right? So space will be going into your Gmail account and you can do the collaboration. And here you can see we can add files, Excel files, other resource files to process. And they provide some GPU based computing as well. For example, if you want to test out some like a graphical based application like image recognition, video recognition, they provide this kind of computing where we can use these packages. Like there's a package called Detectron from Facebook AI. So we can use that package and we can use the capabilities of that in Google Colab. So they are providing all these things in this environment. And this is a completely free version I'm using, but in the paid version also, you get more advanced features like more session time and all this in the advanced feature. But there's no restriction in terms of installing packages and the setup and all this. There's no restriction in the free version as well. So it's really good for beginners or creating an MVP level. It's really good way to start the project. Once you go to more enterprise level where you're serving thousands of customers, then you can go and you can go to the paid version, right? So let's start with a simple code. So in this one, I'm going to use a visualization package, Matplotlib, and also I'm going to use the calculation package, NumPy. So using that, we look at how we can work on our application, right? So here, I'm going to import NumPy. So that is a number processing package. So we can create a variable from that. Then I'm going to use Matplotlib, right? Matplotlib is another popular package, right? So this is, you can see .pyplot. Like this, we can get this pyplot as plt, right? So here you can see like this, we can get this. Then we can use this to create a visualization. So Matplotlib is a package that we can do visualization. You know, like business analyst side, data analyst side, we need to visualize. Even in machine learning, data science, we need to visualize what is the data, what's kind of stage, all these things, right? So that is what we are doing here. So let's create some sample data, right? Like this. So we'll have some initial data points to support this. Then we'll have y-axis. So this helps to create these initial data points. Then we can create give it a title as well, right? We can say title like this, right? Sine waveform, right? Then I can finally say plt.plot to plot this. So I can plot x and y axis. Then I can say plt.show method to visualize the data. So you can see we need only a few lines of code to visualize the chart. So this is you can see we'll create a sine waveform like this. So you can see just by using so just 2 lines to generate the data, then title, then show method and plot, right? So if you want to do this in a C# or Java, you might need to write a lot of code to do this, but in Python you can see using packages is make it that process really simplified, where we can simply set all these things in a much more faster and accurate manner. That is the power in Python. So a lot of packages helps to improve the particular development task that you are doing. So that is really helpful in all these processes. Then I'll show another example. So in this one, what we are doing is a bar chart. So we have defining some objects here, language objects, then y position, and these are the bar values. Then we can use the bar method, plt.bar, and the x-axis, y-axis, title, and the show method. So using that, you can see we can create a bar chart like this. So you can see these are the objects: Python, C#, Java, Perl, Scala, Lisp. Then we are using the objects and the performance values like this. Then using the bar method, we are configuring. So similarly, if you want to create a pie chart, there's a pie method. So likewise, different methods are there to create a specific charts. So Matplotlib is really advanced package. There are thousands of these different type of charts are there available in the Matplotlib package. So that is why it is really a powerful package where we can use this information, use these charts for our applications, right? So if you have any questions, you can ask if you're having any questions. And also, let's say we want to visualize the data in a 3D format, right? Because most of the data we have in a 2-dimension, 2D format. But if you want to visualize the data in a 3-dimension, like a DNA or different kind of a structure, that is also possible with Matplotlib. So that's why Python and this environment become really powerful, where we can visualize this data in a more advanced manner. So let's look at an example where we can visualize this data in a 3-dimensional way in a 3D chart. So again, there are multiple ways we can visualize different 3D charts are there. So I just copy paste to save the time. So here you can see we are using this mplot 3D library. So it's a sub package in the Matplotlib package, where it helps to visualize or create 3D charts. So here we create 3D data XYZ, because when you go to 3D, 3-dimension, you know there are 3 axes: x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So likewise, then we can get this to generate the 3-dimensional data, right? So you can see like this, we can generate a 3-dimensional chart from this, right? So we can generate the 3-dimensional charts using the Matplotlib 3D. So you can see how like it's not that much complex, right? So look at C# or Java to generate this kind of a 3-dimensional chart. There are a lot of custom code we need to write, but here you can see just using the package in Python, we can easily do that. So we can visualize. So as a data scientist, business analyst, you can easily visualize this before going into a prediction or before doing analysis, right? So that's why this language and this environment is really powerful to do a lot of things in this context, right? So this tool helps you to also test this out in the cloud, right? You can see I didn't download the software, I didn't install the package. I already have the installed version, but for this demo purpose, I didn't do anything. I just went to this website, Google colab.research.google.com, and create a new Jupyter notebook, and then I use this code to build these applications, right? So here we are not using machine learning, it's just this package. But for machine learning, we can use a package called Scikit-Learn, which is Scikit-Learn. So Scikit-Learn is a package, Scikit-Learn package. So which is a package that we are using mostly for the machine learning related examples. Remember, I mentioned some of the algorithms like regression, classification, right? So you can see there are examples on this regression, different regression models, different classification models that we can use in Python. So this is one main kind of algorithm package that we can use. It have a lot of algorithms that we discuss and not discussed in this session included in this package called Scikit-Learn. You can also check out this package maybe after the session. and you can go through the relevant set of algorithms and things like that to practice the environment and practice the examples in that. Let me paste that as well. So if you have any questions, of course, you can ask as well. Okay. So then you can see some of the algorithms that we mentioned. So anomaly detection, you can see these are popular algorithms. Then classification, there are many algorithms. Clustering, regression. So these actually came out from research, academic research as a thesis or research paper. Then open source community adapted these algorithms and then use that in their in the open source frameworks. For example, the Scikit-Learn. So when that's why the innovation is faster these days. When there's a new algorithm comes in as a research, then it will adapt into the open source frameworks like Scikit-Learn and other frameworks, and within few days we can use that in our applications. That is really that's why we get a lot of powerful algorithms these days for our applications. So when the new research is out, within few days that will be put into an open source framework or existing framework as a updated package or updated method, then we can use that in our application. So that's why we have a really direct way of using the latest technology, latest versions in machine learning compared to software technologies. It takes some time to like research to build up into the frameworks, but here we have much more faster processing time where the research itself will automatically within few days will go into these frameworks where we can easily use that to build new application, build new use cases, and create many advanced applications on top of that, right? So any questions you can ask. So this is the Q&A time. You can ask any questions. I will also summarize what we did today. So today we discussed about the AI use cases, what are the advantages, what are the algorithms that we can use, what are the languages, and we look at a demo on how to create a simple application, and we look at the tools, Anaconda Environments tool, and we look at the tools like Google Colab. I have shared some of the resources in the chat as well. So you can also take note of that, of these resources, and you can use these as well in your projects or in your products that you are building. And if you have any questions also, you can direct us. So this is the time you can ask any questions. You can put in the chat, or you can unmute your mic and you can ask questions. If you have any questions, of course, I'll give a couple of minutes. Just ask the questions, or you can put the question in the chat as well. There are a lot of areas in this to cover. So there are a lot of, in terms of open source frameworks, in terms of the specific cloud provider like Microsoft AI, in terms of building a product, in terms of MVP, then in terms of specific area like recommendation, natural language processing, reinforcement learning. So likewise, there are a lot of areas, and we are looking to have more discussions like this, more webinars like this, and the meetups. You can join our meetup also, which is New York Emerging Technology Meetup. So you can go to meetup.com and search our meetup as New York Emerging Technology Meetup. So based on in that, we are having this kind of regular meetups to you to join and learn new technologies, get a new understanding. Also, we'll be recording the sessions and we'll be sharing the meeting these details. So you can also look at the video, and if you miss any topics, you can look at that also after the this. So we'll be sharing that also through our channel. So you will receive that as well, recording of this. Any questions, of course, you can ask. This is the time. And we are planning to have this like every month also about new areas and new innovation and topics that we are going to bring. And if you have any suggestions for us, you can email us also. I'll give another like 1-2 minutes for any questions that you may have. You can ask. So if you have any questions, of course, you can put into the chat or you can ask. Thank you, I think, all for joining this particular session. We are going to have this kind of sessions in coming months as well. So make sure to join New York Emerging Technology Meetup group, where we are having this kind of meetups planned. And yeah, thank you for the valuable feedback and looking forward to seeing you again. If you have any questions, you can of course stay back and ask the question. I'll give a few minutes. This is the end of this session. If you have any questions, of course, I would like to answer those even after the session as well. Thank you.